This video will show how to prepare data for Exodus revelations using the preprocessor. From the preprocessor, if you open up a file, I'm going to choose an example file in the samples folder, flood v42.dat, and in the file, when I open it, the historical data form can be found under Edit. Under Edit, Historical Well Data. And in this form, we will show how to enter historical data, that is data to be matched by revelations, in this form. So this form has a spreadsheet, and by default it shows a list of all wells in the model, and currently there's no observed data entered for any of these wells. And if we do show the list only wells with historical data, you can see that this is currently blank. If we choose to, we can enter data ourselves or copy and paste from another spreadsheet. So the data we have is the time at which the observation is made, the oil rate, observed oil rate at this time, a weighting factor on the oil rate, so we can put a historical weighting factor, a gas rate, weighting on the gas rate, water rate, weighting on water rate, cum oil production, weight, cum gas, weight, cum water, average cell pressure. So this for a well would be the average of all the block pressures in all the grid cell locations of that well. Weighting on that value, a flowing borehole pressure value, and weighting on that value. Now we can choose to enter it directly. We can say that for well number 1, here we can enter, say, a time 1999, 0919, for example, as this value, or rate of say 100 millicubic cubes per day, a weighting factor of 1, for example. And then if you go to the next well, 2, if you go back to well number 1, it would have this value here. And we show a list of only wells with historical data. We can see that only that well has historical data. So we can cut and paste from another spreadsheet for the observed data, historical data, for any of these columns and save it. Otherwise, we could also use previously entered data using our historical data program, whereby we can enter and save data in the form of rates as a HIS file, pressure as a .pre file, or customize user-defined data as a .hus file. Now, if we decide to do that, we can say import, say, historical data as on the HIS file. Using that, if we open up that file in samples folder, historical HIS file, and we can see it gives us the list of all the wells that are in the HIS file, and we can choose to import the rates and cumulatives, or just cumulatives. So for example, for well 3, I can import the rates, and then I can see this well 3 here in the list only. So well 3 has got rates from the HIS file. I can choose to import again, import historical data. This for demonstration purposes. Well 5, I could have done all together at the same time. And just the cumulatives. It's okay, and you can see from well number 5, I've got the cumulative data imported in it. So this has options of importing rates or cumulatives, depending on what we want to match. And if you wanted to import the pressure history file, so if you go back to, say, well number 3, we have no pressure history at this point in time, but we have rate data. And if this well actually has pressure history data, we can import the pressure file, the water flood demo pre and look at well number 3 and import that. And if you go back to well number 3, you can see that now there is a historical data at this point in time. Similarly, if we now go and import the HIS file, we can say import an example HIS file that is say well number 1. Let's say cancel that because I want to get rid of the data in well number 1 first. So well number 1, I have entered some dummy data. I want to get rid of that data. Delete lines, and if you look at now, we go back to this and go back to this and go back to that, and we have only 3 and 5. So now if we import the HIS file, the HIS file would have say well number 1 in it. It's okay to that. We have to match up what's in HIS file with our series. We can choose the series to match up. So okay. And then well number 1 now would have data for these columns that we've chosen. Frequently, we want to put a higher weighting factor on the series that we really want to match, and that's typically the OR rate. And so if we, for example, put in say 100 as a weighting factor, that means we put 100 times more emphasis on that value than on this value here. And we can populate the entire column using as an editing function particular to this form. Set column to this value. We put that value in here, the entire column would be populated. So this shows us the way to enter data using historical data. Thank you very much.